pit.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So let's have a look at Bitcoin. We won't really talk about altcoins. We're doing a live stream tonight and we will do it and it's all sorted. I'm feeling a lot better, so thanks a lot for sticking around for those of you who do. And I appreciate the words of encouragement on my Telegram chat to help me feel better and that. But I'm fine, it's just a stomach bug, I'm better now. And it's the kids that weigh me down on top of that. You try and explain to a 2 and a 4-year-old daddy's not very well. Just give me a break. No, it's not. It doesn't sink in, to be honest with you. Anyway, we'll focus on Bitcoin, and but before we do that, we'll just have a quick think about what's going on and what could be causing a lot of this. And to be honest with you, what is probably almost certainly causing it. So I alluded to on the last video I made yesterday, or might have been the day before now. Will Bitcoin prove to be safe? Right? Again, my algorithm's been beaten up badly by by the state of the crypto market. But on top of that, just if I'm not present, I've noticed this. If I'm not present, don't make a video every day, then that's it. People go and listen to the Moon Boys and the Doom Boys, and people who are much more attractive than me, and they never come back. So I have to try and be relevant. But I mean, sometimes you're not well. There's nothing you can do, especially when your priority is your kids, then your health, and then your YouTube channel. Anyway, so I was alluding to that video, the last one I made about is Bitcoin going to prove to be safe as a hedge against inflation, and this has always been its main thing, isn't it? Is Bitcoin the digital gold? Is it the digital gold? And there's always these people say, well, actually I don't think it is. And then there's Michael Saylor that I always bring up this quote, which is the best time to buy Bitcoin is always 5 years ago. And as for me, I bought Bitcoin more than 5 years ago, spent it obviously, but I mean the biggest bulk of Bitcoin that I bought and haven't sold since was in early 2019, basically at the end of the bear market, just as the bull market was beginning around April 1st, right? So obviously that's all working out quite well for me. That's a very nice hedge, isn't it? Really, I mean, it would seem pretty unrealistic to imagine Bitcoin coming down to those levels again. So in that respect, it's true. So Michael Saylor appears to be correct on what he's saying. Best time to buy Bitcoin is always 5 years ago. And for me, it's not even 5 years yet. So what the reason I'm bringing this up before we look at charts really is because what's going on in the Ukraine, and then obviously the repercussions economically of the sanctions that have taken place for Russia, has had a devastating effect already on Russia. This is the Russian ruble acting like a shitcoin, effectively worth less than a Dogecoin right now. I mean, we shouldn't laugh because this isn't just Russia that's going to suffer. Russia's suffering the most, and again, it's not Russia particularly. It's Russian people, unfortunately, that are feeling the absolute brunt of this. That's their money. It's getting close to halving. I mean, there's a dead cat bouncing it right now. They're effectively their monetary I can't think of the word, but they've basically moved their interest rate. They've doubled it, so it's 20%. And there's us beating around the bush. Is it going to be 0.25 or 0.5? What's it going to be? And then they've just banged it up by 10% overnight to a maximum of 20% interest. So I mean, look, it is going to hurt the Russian economy, but then that in turn, as everything is global, it's going to come back and hurt us as well, our money. Not to this extent, I would imagine, but it is. And the only way that we can resolve this is, through trying to solve the inflation problem that we've already got. Effectively, what I'm saying is inflation is going to get out of control. It was already bad to start with, and we were, dancing around talking about, are we going to increase it by a tiny fraction or an even tinier fraction? What's it going to be? And you see the dramatic increase from what Russia's done to try and solve that, to try and help their currency out, and it's not going to work. It isn't going to work, and unfortunately, Russian people are going to. It's them that's going to take the burden of that. But the inflation. I mean, what would have been a good idea for people in Russia? Not that I would suggest do it, because I'm not a financial advisor. Obviously, is that okay? Look, this is a guaranteed whack to our ruble. Okay, we're going to get smacked in the actual face. It's guaranteed. It's in the bag. There's nothing that can stop this move. It's going to happen. What we're going to do. It's like when Bitcoin's looking particularly droopy-eyed. When people want to go into Tether. That's a hedge against a bad big move. So moving from a ruble into any other, well, I suppose any other currency really. But yeah, a dollar effectively has been their preferred choice. But a Bitcoin could also be that as well, because if we think about the inflation which is taking place place worldwide. It's going to affect everybody. It already is. It's going to get worse. The longer this situation continues, the worse the inflation is going to be. So inflation is almost guaranteed now across the board for euro, pound, dollar, obviously ruble, and God knows what else. Anyone that's taking part of these sanctions is going to feel the economic effect. So, is Bitcoin, is it the hedge that we speak about? And the reaction so far would suggest it probably is. And a lot of analysis, including my own, we look at the strength of the dollar using the Dixie as an example. Well, let's have a look at the Dixie now. It's moving up, so we're moving up with the Dixie. We've been doing this for a while. There's been an uptrend. We think we're going to have a bit of a problem around this level, but ultimately break out from here and move up. I think this is all guaranteed, especially when we think about other economies and other currencies. The euro being one of the biggest components to forming this Dixie chart. They're going to suffer really bad, and obviously my currency also, the pound. So we do expect this to go up, not just on a technical basis, but on a fundamental basis. But interestingly, to see this go up with Bitcoin suggests that obviously the dollar is also going to be going down. People expect inflation to be on all currencies because they're all taking part in this massive global sanction of Russia. So that is my explanation of the bulk of this move. To be honest with you, the bulk of it. The last video I made, we were talking about, okay, we're in a will they won't they scenario around here. We can start to get more bullish. It makes more sense on the 4 hour. We can get more bullish once we break out from the 200 exponential, to which we've already done. We've had a continuation from that level as well. Broken out, had a retest of the 41,000 and effectively gone up by another 8%. Such a strong move. We also got the Ichimoku cloud signal formed on this drive here. So from this moment that this was formed, this candle opened, this signal was generated, and it pushed up. So an 8% move from the Ichi cloud and also breaking out from resistance. So two major things happened at the same time to forge the latter part of this really, really big move. So we've got a fundamental, we've got a technical basis for why Bitcoin's moved up. Now we want to know, is it going to continue to move up? Well, on a technical basis, it's in a good position to do that now. Broken out from major resistances, which should hopefully flip to support if they get tested. We've got a golden cross, which would likely take place throughout this week, provided we stay above 40,500. This could be an area that does get retested. 41,000, this 200 exponential will meander up to this level. So we are probably looking for a retest of the $41,000 zone, which again isn't a bearish thing. That's a retest of a support to see if it's see if it's going to hold. So we go to the 12 hour. What have we got brewing on the 12 hour? So you can see in the 12 hour that this 200 exponential has ended up being a decent area of supports and resistances in the past on the 12 hour. Okay, so very pinpoint accuracy, you could argue. Bang, 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 breakdown, retest of it, breakdown, retest, breakdown, retest, oh no, that's a trend line, retest, and a retest again. So this is a major area of resistance right now, based on the 200 exponential, which is basically 44,000, right? And what we'd be looking for, obviously with the 4 hour is looking quite good. We'd be looking for a possible retest of the $41,000 zone, but then we're also going to be looking for a signal. What signal are we looking for? Ichimoku cloud, conversion baseline, and all the other 4 components which would create a drive signal. So we're waiting for this portion of the cloud to go green, which looks like it's going to happen on the next candle close in less than 2 hours. So that looks very much like it's definitely going to form. Even if we were to dump, that's likely to form because this is in response to these candle bodies, so there's nothing that is going to change that. We also need to keep the candles above the cloud. Do we have a conversion baseline cross? Well, let's have a look at that. Where is the conversion line? Where is the baseline? We do. That happened on this big move up here as well. So we've got that, and also we've got this Chiku span, which is absolutely in an amazing position. This doesn't have to be above the price. This only needs to be above the cloud. So that means that we're almost certain that the main thing that we're looking for to get this signal is for a closure to take place in the next 2 hours above this cloud, really, which is going to be 42,000, right? So if that doesn't happen now, no big deal. It can happen, over the next few days, and it does look like over the next week or so, as the cloud dissipates more, that it's going to have a better chance to do it. Probably what date are we looking over here? Around around the 6th, to be honest with you. About around the 6th to the 7th would be a good time for this to happen. So we are looking for this signal to be generated regardless, unless, of course, we do dump, below that major support and things like that. So the 12 hour is looking good, albeit at a resistance right now. Right, now let's go to the daily. The daily is always going to be my preference for large, big moves. Outside of the 4 hourly, we're turning up quite nicely, and we have been doing since on the momentum drives here for your MACD. We are not quite to the 0 point, which is where this will really start to gain more momentum. We have had an RSI breakout, so momentum shifted to the up. Money flow isn't quite as dramatic as you'd think. So volume, although it's reasonably high, or has been quite high, it's not flowing enormously. So this does suggest potentially a bit more sideways, maybe on a daily basis. So maybe the largest side of the move has already been played. We would be looking for a potential retest of those lower zones, unless, of course, we do close this candle body at this level or above, and this could basically, this is like dynamite waiting for the explosion. We don't know how big the fuse would be, but it's certainly been lit, and so we will be waiting for that. It can go up straight away, it can go down, it can go sideways. Because it's a 12 hourly, we have to be prepared to wait potentially maybe up to a week for that signal to actually play out as a move, but it would be a dramatic one, similar to the one that was generated on the 4 hourly. 4 hourly generated an 8% move, so we could be looking for a 10% or so for a 12 hourly signal. And if that's the case, then we bring ourselves back to the daily to see, okay, where could this potentially take us. 46,000 is the 200 exponential. That's also just above the top of the Bollinger Band on the daily. I know that's probably not a 10% from where we are right now, but it's still a decent move. 6%. 200 simple is 49,000. That's also a historical horizontal. We've got rid of all of these just to try and tidy my chart up, but 49,500 is a bit of a historical top, and for the market as well, for Bitcoin, and bottoms. It goes back quite a long way. I just so sometimes my charts get a little too noisy. I sort of get rid of these things, so I kind of recognise them off the top of my head, like Rain Man. So it does look good, I have to say. I would be looking for some downside in a more bullish fashion, so I would welcome a retest of the $41,000 zone. But as I started this video talking about fundamentals, which is something I wouldn't normally do, and I'm not talking about the circulating supply, I'm not talking those types of fundamentals, I'm not talking on-chain analysis, I'm talking about economic reasons for Bitcoin to be bought, given what's going on and what's almost inevitable, just on a currency basis, across the board, right? Sanctions take a while to kick in to the country that is sanctioned, right? They will take even longer to bleed into the countries who have sanctioned the sanctioned country. Let's not beat around the bush, right? Russia, we can call it a superpower. It's certainly an energy power, right? As far as an economy is concerned, they're not much bigger than Spain, right? So they're not big, they're not small, they're kind of in the middle. So their economy isn't enormous or anything like that. But what they export and what they sell to people is basically what we all want, which is energy, right? So it's going to be felt across the board, right? And the currencies will feel that. What we've seen with the ruble was a dramatic effect. That sort of move will sort of slowly bleed into our own, as inflation will spiral effectively out of control, probably go into, well, I'm not going to put a figure on it, but figures beyond our imagination potentially. So I'm not saying this because it will happen. I'm saying this is because it could happen, and it's the fact that it could that people will want to position themselves anywhere possible, right? Gold is good, but in wartime, is gold good? Would you want? Where do you want to have your gold? Where are you going to put it? You're going to have gold on paper? It's not really that good. Are you going to have gold under your mattress? Fair play to you, but someone can go in and nick that. That can be gone. So there is an argument at this very moment in time, the one that, I suppose, has propped Bitcoin up over the years by all the maximalists, that does seem to sound like it makes a bit more sense recently, and I'm all for that, But when it comes to altcoins, they don't have that behind it. But what they do have is Bitcoin as a base layer, as in like a building block of a an overall market. So with a strong Bitcoin, a healthy Bitcoin will almost inevitably come healthy and decent moves across the board for altcoins. But for the moment, the market is feeling a massive alleviating factor from, unfortunately, the tragic events which are happening over in the far in Eastern Europe, right? So look, I'll leave it with you there. It's food for thought. On a technical basis and on a fundamental level, things do look good for Bitcoin, right? Things do look good for Bitcoin. On a technical basis, we would like to see retests. At the moment, markets are operating perfectly fine. In America, no real problems with that. And at the moment, we've not really seen any effects. This is all speculative of what's likely to happen down the line over a period of months and years to global economy and all our currencies as a result of what's taking place at the moment. So let's screw our heads on, right? Let's not get too overexcited. Like I say, we've always been wanting to be in a larger Bitcoin position for a longer period of time, and I still believe that that's probably the best place to be for the foreseeable future. I would be looking for a major rotation into altcoins around 47.5% dominance. For what would appear to be an obvious place for a decent rejection in an alt season. However, this time round, it does look like the position of at least the chart suggests that this is probably only a temporary pit stop for altcoins. You will get an alt season. It may last days or weeks or maybe even longer, but inevitably it'll get picked up and we will break from here into these levels over here. And that is what would appear to be in the form of a strong Bitcoin, and that's what we want. We want a strong Bitcoin. We welcome Bitcoin dominance to go up in the form of a Bitcoin rally. That's what we want. We all know that Bitcoin dominance goes up generally when Bitcoin and the market dumps. No, but what we do want to see is the market going up while Bitcoin goes up as well, because it allows us to have way more money, basically our Bitcoin, that we can rotate into altcoins at a much safer position for some serious gains. You can flip one Bitcoin into 2 or 3 quite easily if you come up to an area of resistance like this and just do it. So I'll do a half a Bitcoin. That could easily become 1 Bitcoin in maybe as quickly as a couple of days, really. Big alt seasons take place at big rejection levels, we talk about it all the time, but this is the major one that we hedged into, and we basically made life-changing money from doing that. Now, we won't make life-changing money from doing like this, but we will make good money. It's an obvious place. So I'm happy to just wait this out. I do hold altcoins, obviously, but my biggest position is a Bitcoin position. Well, actually, to be honest, my biggest position is still a fiat position, really. But yeah, when it comes to my spot trading, crypto, it's got to be probably at this stage probably about 70% Bitcoin. So I'm going to leave it with you there, guys. It's a long video, and I apologise for that. But I'll see you on the live stream tonight for Patreon members. And yeah, well, that's good luck to you all. Good luck. Take it easy.